Hello everyone, it's Sylvie. Welcome back. I hope you're doing good. Today's video may or may not be interrupted by my cat yelling at me. Apologies in advance. I promise she's not being tortured. She just is mad that the sun has gone away and is taking it out on me. So this video is actually going to be the 21 tarot questions? 21 questions tarot tag? Something like that. It will obviously be in the title. But this was Lisa Pepez has started this tag. I think it was based, well, I know because I watched the video. It was based on a live show that she did a few weeks back with her wife. They came up with a bunch of questions. They made a tag out of it. I'm doing that tag today. You know how it works. So I'm going to get straight into it. Prompt 1, question 1. What is the deck they'll have to pry out of your cold, dead hands? Okay, look, you know me, you know I'm not making decisions easily and lightly, but I thought maybe the Tarot Volatile, because I love this deck a lot. I have called it my favourite. We'll see. But like, I feel like I could replace this if I had to. You know, if like my collection disappeared, I could replace it and it would be fine. The actual deck that you'd have to pry out of my cold, dead hands is the Trip and Wait Tarot. This is a deck by Tarot Collectibles, and I just, no other copy of this deck could ever be the same. I edged this one very messily and badly in this pink purple colour. I love this deck so much, and it's the deck I've read for other people with. Like, I've kept it in my bag and I've ended up reading for people, like when we've been out for drinks or for coffee or whatever. I love it, and this specific physical copy of the deck, I'm not getting rid of it, ever. Prompt 2, what's your guilty pleasure deck? I don't really know what guilty pleasure deck means for me, but I think maybe the Grimalkin's Curious Cats Tarot. Is my camera angle off again? It super is. Apologies. So yeah, I think that this is the closest I've got to a like guilty pleasure deck, because like I bought it because it was cute. It's not my favorite art style in the world. I actually have been really loving using it, but I didn't expect it to be like a life-changing deck. So I guess this is my guilty pleasure deck. I was like, it's cute, it's covered in cats. Some of the cards are like super, super pretty. You know, I saw it, I wanted it, I bought it, kind of a thing. Which I think is as close to a guilty pleasure deck as I can reasonably define. I can't pick up the 5 of Cups. Because, like, I don't feel guilty about any of my decks. So I don't really know what that means for me. What's the deck you wish existed? This is a really good question. And I think it would be like a Discworld deck, like a Terry Pratchett Discworld deck. I've got to zoom back out now. I'm really bad at this filming business. But it would have to be like this dream deck that I'm coming up. It would have to be with this art, the Josh Kirby art. But yeah, so my imaginary deck I wish existed, it would be Josh Kirby's art, because I love it. It's nostalgic for me. And this art like is Discworld for me. But he passed in 2001, so for this deck to actually exist, it would have to be out of the existing artwork. But decks from existing artwork, I feel, are very difficult to do convincingly. So I think that this deck I'm imagining can sadly never exist, but I still wish that it did. Prompt number 4, what deck would you give to a new reader? I personally started my tarot journey with the Mary L, which I would not change, but I also would not strictly recommend. And so I have, look, I can't make decisions. I have 2. The Golden Tarot by Cat Black, I think is just gorgeous. I think it's a very loyal Rider-Waite-Smith like interpretation, but pretty. And the guidebook, if I recall correctly, was pretty decent. And that was my like initial thought, because I've had this deck a really long time and I did a lot of learning on this deck. But I think the deck I would actually recommend to a new reader out of my collection, and I'm not going to say the Rider-Waite-Smith because that's a boring answer, and I think actually it depends as much on the guidebook, if not more on the guidebook, than the specific deck. It also depends whether you want to learn to read all tarot or whether you just want to learn one deck, in which case, get whichever one takes your fancy. But I would recommend this because, once again, the art is very reminiscent of the Rider-Waite-Smith. There have been some changes. There's a little bit more like diversity throughout the deck. So that's, I think, good for a beginner deck to have a deck that like is more relatable to the real world. But the guidebook for this is really good. It has like not a massive description, but it has a decent description for all of the cards, and he specifically references like choices that he's made in the images, which I think is really important. It doesn't matter how much I love the artwork of a deck, I am always disappointed, even just a little bit, when the guidebook doesn't discuss the actual art depicted. He describes what he's done with each card, and I think that makes it like a much more valuable beginner style deck. This is expensive though. This is the mass market edition, but this is pricey, so like I wouldn't actually necessarily recommend this for beginners. But hey, I'm trying not to overthink this. I can overthink like it's an Olympic sport though, so fighting a losing battle there. Next question. What deck do you want to get along with but just never clicked? So this was actually in my unhaul video. This is... Ooh. She's in order. This is the Unfolding Path Tarot, and like, it's beautiful. It's a stunning deck. I think the art is gorgeous. I deliberated over this deck for so long before pulling the trigger on it because it was quite expensive. It's now gone mass market, so if I'd wait, never mind. Yeah, it's coming out later this year. But anyway, it was my first like expensive indie deck, so like I really wanted to love it, and like I tried to kid myself that I liked it more than I actually did, and then I just had to admit that it's not for me. I just can't get on with it. I can't like relate to it because I take it too literally. Like the people look too real, which is a strength, and for a lot of people that's what they want. But for me, I'm like, well, except for this judgment, which I feel like doesn't make sense. But anyway, like especially once you get into the minors, like a lot of the situations that they're in look too realistic, and I can only seem to take them at face value. I just can't, although I like the dog, I just can't get on with it, and I'm sad about it, but it is what it is. I need to actually get around to like selling my decks I'm unhauling and then move them on to people who will appreciate them more than me. So what's next? What deck do you keep only for the art? It's the Dungeons and Dragons Tarot deck. I have very occasionally used this. I don't really use it to read with because, and I knew this before buying the deck, so I've edged it in black, it doesn't come like this. I knew this before buying the deck, so I'm not mad about it, but the minors just have the number, they don't have the suit that they belong to, which is really annoying. I find that like the 1 to 10, actually, I can tell which is which relatively easily, although I don't know about this one. But yeah, like completely lost my train of thought. But yeah, I have this for the art because I think the Dungeons & Dragons art is gorgeous. And I have occasionally used it to like help prompt some backstory ideas for D&D characters, because like the book that it comes with, you pull a card and then they've each got like a situation, so you could use this in like crafting a campaign. So I've used it for like backstory ideas for D&D characters, but I mainly just have it because I think it's beautiful. I really like the art, and I won't get rid of it. It just sits on my shelf with my D&D books. I say my shelf, it sits on my brother's shelf actually with his D&D books, because I need more space for tarot decks in my room, so he's got it. What deck did you buy because everyone else did? I don't actually have it because I was very strong of will. I still might buy it, who the hell knows. But I so nearly bought the Wild Unknown, and I still kind of want to. Even though I don't think it's for me, like I don't think I will get on with actually reading it. Like I'm not really an animal deck person. I only have, well, I have 2, but they're a fluke. And and like I like to have more going on in my cards, and they're quite like minimalist, quite simple. But like it took the tarot world by storm. Everyone's raved about it. I feel like everybody has had a copy at some point. It's been so successful, and like I still kind of want it. I still might buy it someday, but so far I've resisted. So go me. What deck is over your head or just baffles you? And for that, it's the Chrysalis Tarot. My god, how many times have I said that I like this deck but I don't work with it? Like, I never shut up about it. Beautiful backs. Yeah, so I've bought this out a few times. I'm still waiting for it to click. Like, I've done a few readings and then I just look at the cards like I don't really know what I'm looking at, and I go to the guidebook and I'm like, well, that doesn't really, like, it has not clicked with me, but in like I want it to, and I feel like it could. I think I need to keep pushing through, because it baffles me. Like, I can't even really explain why. Like, it's a bit fantasy, which I love. It's changed the suit names, which is fine. It's changed a lot of the majors, but like other decks do that and I'm fine. The courts are weird, but I don't understand the courts anyway half the time, so like I don't really have a problem with that. The meanings are pretty consistent with Rider-Waite-Smith. They just depict them in a unique way. But like this I do not understand. Like, what is the Divine Child doing as the Hierophant? What is the Divine Child? I don't understand. But like this Nine of Mirrors, I still put it in my favorite Cups cards because I think it's beautiful. Like I'm just baffled. Baffled is the word. So that is the Chrysalis Tarot. Next prompt. I'm making such a mess. What deck surprised you? And for that, I think it is the Guardian of the Night Tarot. Because I bought this on a whim, mostly because the backs are pretty, I'm not gonna lie. And like I got it home, started like looking at the cards and like reading the guidebook, and I was like, oh, this was a mistake. This is a bit too like nice. Like, it's a bit too love and light. It's a bit too positive spin. But then I gave it a chance and I just absolutely fell in love with this deck. Like, it is often on the more like positive spin of the cards. Like, it often will include the silver lining, but like it still does like, oh, this Empress. I love this Empress. It's gorgeous. It's Four of Wands. But like this Lovers, I don't understand. Anyway, yeah, so it surprised me because I originally thought I'd made a mistake in getting this deck, but it's been very powerful in reading. I would not be parted with it. It's one of the decks I read with most frequently because it sits next to my bed, and so when I want to pull a couple of cards before I go to bed, it's this one because like it is a little bit more gentle. It is a little bit more silver lining-y. I'm not being like smacked in the face with my demons at like midnight when I can't sleep. So yeah, and then because I liked this deck so much is the reason why I bought this one. And honestly, I'm coming to terms with eventually I'm going to end up with all her decks. She's currently in the process of designing like a ghosty, like haunted house one. Oh no, I'm losing everything. Which I'm assuming is going to be an indie release, but I'm hoping is going to get picked up mass market because all of her other decks have been. The Foraxa is coming out this year. I've pre-ordered it. Like, this is the other reason this surprised me, because I don't love the art style, and I feel so bad for saying this every time I talk about her decks, but like, it doesn't mean it's bad art. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying I don't love it. Like the like brush texture, I'm just like on. But I love it anyway, and I'm gonna end up buying all her decks. There's just something about them. So yeah, this deck. And I did the edges, which actually need touching up. They're a bit scuffed. Yeah, this deck, but more specifically, this artist surprised me. What deck doesn't really work for you, but you keep it because it's a collectible? I don't really have one that fits for this. And this isn't a collectible, this is a mass market deck. But the Buffy Tarot is like the closest I've got to answer that. To be fair to it, I've not really tried to read with it all that much, but like, it's not a serious reader. It's not one I brought out for like serious readings. It's fun, and it's like a collectible in the sense that it's like merch is the kind of direction I took with this. But I'm going to keep it because it's Buffy. I just wanted to have my fun fandom deck, even if I hate the cardstock, but it's an inside edition, so who's surprised? Like, I wanted to have my fun fandom deck to like flip through occasionally. Like, this is one of those decks I don't really read with, but I will pull it down and like have a look through the cards every now and again, because I like to have it. And I like to see the things that I have, and I think the artwork's really gorgeous. I love the colour palette. I probably will pull this out more at like autumn, Halloween, like when it feels a bit more seasonally appropriate, although obviously Buffy is for life. But yeah, that is my answer to that one. I'm going to have to speed up a little bit because I am only halfway through these questions and I can't seem to stop talking. This is the third video I filmed today, so maybe that was a mistake. But I'm losing vocabulary and the ability to use it effectively. Anyways, what's next? What deck is your favourite gilded deck? It's the Labanco Tarot. I think this is the only silver edge deck I've got. It's just, it's getting a bit chipped now, but it's so shiny and reflective and beautiful, and against the black edges and the backings. And I also just love this deck in general. Like, when I first got this, it was like mirror shine reflective, and it still almost is, even though it's quite chipped. Like, it's beautiful. Done. Prompt 12. Which deck do you love but you hate the cardstock? Oh, it's the Queer Tarot. So this is the same size and annoying cardstock as the Ask the Witch. It's massive. Like, it's obnoxiously large, but like, I love, this is a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. I love the artwork. I think it's gorgeous. I love the like texture of the colors, this like faded, like worn in kind of texture. I love the backs. How beautiful. I love that it's queer, obviously, that should go without saying. It's gorgeous. The cardstock sucks. It's huge. It doesn't riffle. It's also like really thick. So like I can just about, but like I can barely get my hands around it. And it's so stiff, it doesn't really riffle, and like you can tell it's quite like cardboardy. There's no like core to it, I don't think. So it's just hideous, awful cardstock. At least it's matte. I actually hate the Ask the Witch cardstock more, but I really love this deck. I wish it was on nicer cardstock. But I won't stop using it. I think this might be my June daily draw, actually, because Pride Month. But anyway, what deck gives you the willies? Which is not a thing we say in England, so I feel strange having said that sentence. But I don't really have one. But honestly, anything with like real people in, I don't like it. It makes me feel a bit like, no. Succinct. What is your favourite deck for shadow work? I don't know if this is strictly my answer, because I don't know, I kind of feel like, I don't know, I feel like I don't do a lot of, I feel like I'm always doing like very gentle like edge of the shadow work. So I'm kind of not really convinced on my own answer for this. This is the Mary L. Let's try and stay on topic, Sylvie. This is the Mary L Tarot, and I guess this is my answer, because I feel like you can use any deck for shadow work, but this just has so much depth to it, and like the guidebook, and she's really not afraid to like touch on a lot of different things and like go, not so much like go dark, but just go so big. Does that even make sense? I don't know. It's just shadow work vibes kind of a deck. Like, it almost feels daft to use it for anything like menial and everyday and lighthearted, because like it's so expansive. Like, why would you waste it on easy stuff almost? So yeah, the Mary L. What deck do you love in theory but not in practice? So I think I need to just give this more of a chance because I feel like I've been neglecting it. But this is the Cirque de Tarot. Oh God, I'm causing a mess. It's that awful shiny Llewellyn cardstock. So I don't dislike glossy cardstock in real life, but now that I'm like filming YouTube videos, dear God, do I hate glossy cardstock. So I love this in theory because the artwork is so beautiful. The color palette, oh, the backs are nice. Like the color palette, the artwork is lovely. It's like dreamy, it's soft, it's kind of fantastical. But like, I like this as the Eight of Cups. It's beautiful. It's a stunning deck. But like, I just can't click with it. And I think I need to pay it some more attention, maybe make it my like monthly deck, do my daily draw with it. I love this Empress. Isn't she fantastic? With the bunnies, stunning. But yeah, it's just kind of fallen a bit flat for me in practice, and I think I need to give it more of a chance. But this is my, oh God, this is my answer for that. As a deck that I love in theory more than in practice. What deck would you never use to read for someone else? I think maybe I'm going to bring the Guardian of the Night back because this is my deck for when I'm feeling squishy and vulnerable. And like, I kind of don't want to share it with other people. Like, this is my like safe place deck. I don't read a lot for other people, I should say, but like I was thinking, well, this is the only deck that I would like be really reluctant to read for somebody else with. And I kind of like, I want to keep it just for me. Like it's mine. it's my squishy, vulnerable, safe space deck. And it wouldn't be a safe space deck if I let other people in. So it's mine. What deck would you never use for yourself? I do not have an answer to that question because I primarily read for myself. I would use all of my decks for myself. What deck could you not bring yourself to buy? Oh my God, I deliberated about this. So my answer is the Spread Machine Oracle. I really, really want it. I want it so badly, but it's so much money with shipping to the UK. And obviously, like, I'd want both the expansion decks too. So like, if you've not seen it, the Spread Machine Oracle is an oracle deck with kind of like spread position prompts. There's like, I forget how many cards, but there's like a collection of like different kinds of prompt, and you can use it to create spreads for yourself. And I think it's such a cool concept. And I know I want to use it, but like, I can't know if I really would use it, or if I'd use it like that much, if it would work for me in practice, and like how often I'd reach for it. And like with shipping, it's just so much money. It comes out to like, I think it's like 120 quid, which is easily like 2 or 3 indie decks. It's like 4, 5, 6 mass market decks. Like, it's so much money for one deck, and I don't even know for certain if I'd use it. I just can't bring myself to buy it. I want someone UK based to like pick it up for distribution because that might be affordable. And then I could also get like the main deck and then come back later to get the expansions. Whereas if I was ordering like international shipping, because the shipping is so expensive, I wouldn't want to pay the shipping multiple times. Anyway, I'm not getting the deck, is my point. That is my answer. I cannot bring myself to spend that money on it. What is your favourite pip deck? Is prompt 19. The only pip decks I have are Marseille, but it's got to be this one. It's got to be the Squid Cake, because it's so cute. The pig edges, the diddy little book, the cute backs, and it's just, I love it. The Knight on a Snail. The King of Cups with his coffee. I love this so much. The strawberries, it's so cute. It's my favourite pip deck. The little ghost on the Two of Cups, I can't. I've been working with this deck because it is my Marseille study month. I say that as though I'm going to get the studying done in a month. I've begun my Marseille study in May. So I've been working with this like consistently. I've been enjoying it so much. My favourite pip deck for sure. Which feels neglectful of my Dinosaur de Marseille, which is my only other pip deck. But like, and I love it. I love reading with it, but like the squid cake, there's something about it. Prompt 20. What deck slaps you with the truth? It's the Golden Tarot. This bitch is so mean to me. I love it. I need it. But this deck is so mean to me. Yeah, it's a short and sweet answer to that question. It's this one. And the final question, what's the deck that got away? It's not so much the deck that got away as the one I could never have, but it's the Abyssal Tarot, which, it's gorgeous. I love it. It's this underwater photography deck. It's like luscious and dreamy and, it's beautiful. I want it. I want to get lost in it. But like, last I checked, she doesn't even ship to the UK. I think that her Etsy is the only place you can get it. And last time I checked, she doesn't ship to the UK. It was also extremely expensive in the first place. So even if she did, it would cost me like well over 100 quid, which is money I can't spend that on one deck when I don't know. I can't. But yeah, it was also limited quantity and quite possibly out of stock by now. So it really is the one that got away. And I'm sad, but it's a tarot deck. There will be more beautiful tarot decks. So yeah, that is all the questions answered. I was hoping this would be like a short and sweet fun tag, but I've talked for well over half an hour. I'm hoping a good portion of that footage is just me chasing the cat and can be cut out and the video is not going to be that long, but it's not getting any shorter with me chatting. So I'm going to leave it there. I will, of course, have Lisa's original video linked below, all that good stuff. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.